Welcome to InfoStream, your daily current. Unsure what to listen to? Turn to us for today's headlines. Stay informed. Trump's strategy remains unclear regarding Ukraine's security. Gaza ceasefire talks are progressing under pressure. Hong Kong trials continue for Jimmy Lai. China and India are building a new partnership. Burkina Faso has expelled a UN official. A shocking incident has impacted Europe's migrant crisis. Air Canada and flight attendants have reached a deal. Softbank is investing heavily in Intel. Ashton Kutcher leads acquisition of Soho House. Vietnam's investment is boosting economic growth. Insurance innovation is being developed for Thai MSMEs. Thai industrial sentiment is declining. DKSH is promoting sustainable growth in Thailand. The Thai crowdfunding sector is shrinking. The Thai stock market is volatile. Trump's shifting strategy and the uncertain future of Ukraine's security. Recent news reports detail a chaotic and rapidly evolving diplomatic landscape surrounding the conflict in Ukraine, primarily driven by shifting strategies from U.S. President Donald Trump. Initially, European allies, including France, the UK, Germany, and Italy, proactively engaged with Trump to prepare him for a summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin, emphasizing the urgent need for a ceasefire to halt the ongoing violence. This preparation centered on the understanding that a swift ceasefire was crucial to initiate peace negotiations. Trump initially echoed these demands, publicly stating his desire for an immediate cessation of hostilities. However, upon meeting with Putin, Trump abruptly reversed course, abandoning the ceasefire push and advocating instead for a direct peace agreement, effectively accepting Russia's terms. This shift was attributed to a meeting with key advisors including Steve Witkoff and Marco Rubio, further highlighting Trump's tendency to prioritize the last person he spoke with. Consequently, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky was summoned to Washington, but with an uncertain outcome. The episode underscores a significant strategic divergence between the U.S. and its European allies, raising concerns about the future of Ukraine's security. Furthermore, the situation highlights the broader instability within the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, as European leaders scramble to maintain deterrence against Russia without direct U.S. support. The prospect of a prolonged conflict and the potential for Russia to exploit the strategic vacuum are significant factors. Ultimately, the events reveal a complex and precarious diplomatic situation, characterized by shifting priorities and a lack of consensus regarding the long-term security of Ukraine. The European nations are preparing for a prolonged and potentially difficult transition, while the U.S. navigates a new, uncertain strategic landscape. Gaza ceasefire negotiations intensify amidst growing pressure. Multiple news reports detail escalating efforts to secure a ceasefire agreement in Gaza, driven by concerns over the ongoing humanitarian crisis and the fate of remaining hostages. A proposed 60-day ceasefire, brokered by Egypt and Qatar, is currently being evaluated by Israel, though the government's demand for the complete release of all 50 hostages has created significant obstacles. The initial proposal involves Hamas releasing approximately half of the hostages, with around 20 believed to be alive during the truce period. Negotiations regarding a permanent ceasefire and Israeli troop withdrawal would occur concurrently. This plan is largely based on a framework previously presented by U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff. Growing international pressure is mounting on the Israeli government to accept the deal. Political parties across the UK, including the SDLP, Sinn Féin Alliance SNP, Plaid Cymru, and People Before Profit, have jointly urged Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer to intervene urgently, calling for a parliamentary recall and increased diplomatic efforts. The UK stance on recognizing a Palestinian state in September, contingent on Israel's actions, is being re-examined due to the crisis. Hamas has officially agreed to the latest ceasefire proposal, confirming its acceptance of the Egyptian and Qatari-mediated plan. The agreement outlines a two-stage release of hostages followed by negotiations. Simultaneously, thousands of Palestinians are fleeing intensifying Israeli strikes in Gaza City, highlighting the devastating impact of the ongoing military offensive. A large demonstration occurred in Tel Aviv, with protesters demanding a deal with Hamas, which Netanyahu characterized as hardening the negotiating position. The BBC reports that Israel believes only 20 of the 50 hostages are still alive. The situation remains highly volatile, with continued negotiations and military operations shaping the immediate future of the conflict. The focus is on securing a temporary truce to facilitate humanitarian aid and hostage releases, while a long-term resolution remains elusive. Hong Kong activist Asylum grants and Jimmy Lai trial developments. Two pro-democracy activists, Ted Hui and Tony Chung, have been granted asylum in the United Kingdom and Australia, respectively, following their sentencing under Hong Kong's national security law. These grants, announced over the weekend, have prompted a strong reaction from the Hong Kong government, which summoned both the British and Australian envoys to express its disapproval and demand they cease harboring what it considers offenders. Hui, who fled in December 2020 after facing charges related to 2019 anti-government protests, and Chung, who left in 2023 citing immense stress from police scrutiny, now reside in Australia and the UK, respectively, with their families. The Hong Kong government maintains that arrests are based on factual evidence and are unrelated to political stances, despite widespread criticism of the national security laws used to suppress dissent. Simultaneously, closing arguments are underway in the national security trial of Jimmy Lai, the prominent pro-democracy media tycoon. The trial, initially scheduled to begin on Thursday, was postponed twice due to a typhoon and subsequently to accommodate the installation of a medical device to monitor Lai's heart condition. Concerns regarding Lai's deteriorating health, exacerbated over the past year, have been raised by his legal team and his son, Sebastian. Lai is one of hundreds of Hong Kongers detained since Beijing implemented the national security law aimed at quelling unrest. Critics argue the law is being utilized to stifle dissent and cultivate an atmosphere of fear within the territory. The ongoing trial highlights the broader legal challenges faced by pro-democracy figures in Hong Kong under the new security framework, underscoring the continuing tensions between the region and China. Both developments represent significant chapters in the ongoing struggle for democratic freedoms in Hong Kong. China and India seek partnership amidst thawing ties. Recent diplomatic efforts between China and India signal a significant shift towards cooperation following years of strained relations. Foreign Minister Wang Yi's two-day visit to Delhi marked the second high-level meeting between the countries since the deadly clashes in the Galwan Valley in 2020, representing a critical step in normalizing ties. Discussions encompassed a broad range of bilateral issues, including trade, facilitating religious pilgrimages to Tibet, and crucially, the resolution of the long-standing border dispute. Key to this thaw is the mutual recognition of each other as partners rather than adversaries, a sentiment echoed by both Wang Yi and Indian Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar. Progress has been made on restoring stability along the disputed Himalayan border, with agreements on patrolling arrangements established in October of last year. Furthermore, both nations have taken concrete steps to resume normal relations, such as China granting access to Tibetan pilgrimage sites and India restarting visa services for Chinese tourists. Negotiations regarding border trade through designated passes are ongoing, and reports suggest the resumption of direct flights between the countries is planned for this year. These developments lay the groundwork for Prime Minister Narendra Modi's anticipated visit to China later this month to attend the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, a CESO summit. The rapprochement occurs against a backdrop of evolving geopolitical dynamics. The United States has expressed concerns, with White House trade advisor Peter Navarro criticizing India's relationship with both China and Russia, highlighting India's role in facilitating Russian oil trade. Jaishankar emphasized the need for a fair, balanced, and multipolar world order, advocating for reformed multilateralism and global economic stability. The ongoing dialogue reflects a strategic realignment within the Indo-Pacific region, aiming to foster collaboration while navigating complex international pressures. The meetings between Wang Yi and his counterparts represent a deliberate effort to de-escalate tensions and establish a more constructive relationship between the two nuclear-armed neighbors. Burkina Faso expels UN official over child rights report. Burkina Faso's military junta has expelled Carole Flore Smarexniak, the UN's top official in the country, due to her involvement in a recently released report detailing widespread human rights abuses involving children caught in the ongoing jihadist conflict. The report, compiled over a 2-year period, documented over 2,000 cases of child recruitment, killings, sexual violence, and abuse, attributing responsibility to Islamist insurgents, government soldiers, and civilian defense forces. The junta, led by Capt. Ibrahim Traore, stated they were not consulted prior to the report's publication and considered the allegations unfounded, lacking supporting documentation or court rulings. This expulsion follows the earlier persona non grata declaration of Barbara Manzi, the UN representative before Flore Smarexniak, in December 2022, triggered by her criticism of the crisis impact on education and healthcare services. The junta's actions highlight a growing tension between the military government and international organizations attempting to address the country's severe security situation, which has been exacerbated by an insurgency led by groups affiliated with Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State group since 2015. Capt. Traore, who seized power in September 2022, initially promised a swift resolution to the crisis within 2 to 3 months. However, the junta has resisted assistance from France, the former colonial power, opting instead for support from Russia. Despite these efforts, jihadist group Janum has significantly increased its activity, carrying out over 280 attacks in Burkina Faso during the first half of 2025, nearly double the number from the same period in 2024. Concerns have also arisen regarding the military's alleged targeting of civilians and suppression of political activity and freedom of expression. The junta announced last year it would extend its rule for another 5 years, and Traoré has cultivated a Pan-Africanist image, potentially aiming to run for president in 2029. The UN has yet to formally comment on the latest expulsion, echoing previous expressions of regret regarding Manzi's removal, underscoring the ongoing challenge of engagement with the Burkinabe government. Europe's migrant crisis, the truck that shocked the world during the summer of 2015, a significant wave of migration surged from countries including Syria, Afghanistan, and Iraq, driven by the hope of finding safety and refuge within Europe. These journeys were frequently fraught with danger, and tragically, not all individuals successfully reached their intended destinations. The most widely known and devastating consequence of this crisis was the discovery of 71 migrants dead in the back of a refrigerated truck on a motorway in Austria. The migrants, all suffocated, represent a stark illustration of the perilous conditions faced by those attempting to cross borders seeking asylum. The core question raised by this event is whether preventative measures could have been implemented to avert this horrific outcome. The BBC's Assignment investigative program delves into the circumstances surrounding this tragedy. The program features an interview with 2 individuals, now serving life sentences in a Bulgarian prison, who were involved in human smuggling operations. These interviews aim to understand the dynamics of the trafficking networks and the motivations behind the risky journeys undertaken by migrants. Furthermore, the investigation explores the experiences of a man in northern Iraq who lost his younger brother and 2 children aboard the truck, providing a deeply personal perspective on the human cost of the crisis. The program also examines the response of law enforcement in Hungary, questioning whether authorities could have intervened more swiftly to prevent the transport of the migrants. The investigation highlights the complex challenges faced by border control agencies in responding to large-scale migration flows, and the critical need for coordinated international efforts to address the root causes of displacement and protect vulnerable individuals seeking sanctuary. The overall aim of Assignment is to expose the realities of the migrant crisis and to provoke critical discussion about the ethical and practical considerations involved in managing humanitarian emergencies. Air Canada and flight attendants reached tentative agreement, ending strike, after a prolonged strike impacting thousands of passengers and disrupting Air Canada's operations. A tentative agreement has been reached between Air Canada and the Canadian Union for Public Employees, QPEV, representing its flight attendants. The agreement, achieved after overnight negotiations, signifies a transformative change for the industry and addresses key concerns raised by the union. Flight attendants will now vote on the proposed terms to finalize the agreement. The strike, initiated on Saturday, involved over 10,000 flight attendants and resulted in the cancellation of over 700 flights daily. The core issues driving the strike centered around wages, with the union arguing that compensation for work performed while aircraft are on the ground, including safety checks, medical assistance, and passenger boarding, was inadequate compared to industry standards and inflation. Air Canada had offered a 38% increase in total compensation over 4 years, but the union deemed this insufficient. Following the tentative agreement, Air Canada cautioned that it may take up to 10 days to fully restore its flight schedule as aircraft and crew adjust to returning to operational positions. Passengers with confirmed bookings are advised to confirm flight status before traveling to the airport. The Canadian Jobs Minister, Patty Hajdu, had ordered Air Canada to resume operations on Saturday, but the union refused, accusing the government of siding with corporate interests. The strike highlighted broader labor tensions within the Canadian airline industry and raised concerns about the value of essential work performed by frontline employees. The union's vote in favor of striking was overwhelming, demonstrating the significant dissatisfaction among flight attendants regarding their compensation and working conditions. The tentative agreement represents a significant step toward resolving this dispute and restoring normalcy to Air Canada's operations. The final outcome hinges on the ratification vote by the union members. Softbank invests $12 billion in Intel amid government support. The semiconductor industry is experiencing a significant shift driven by both private investment and governmental intervention. Softbank announced a $2 billion investment in Intel, paying $20.30 per share. A move intended to bolster Intel's planned manufacturing hub in Ohio and solidify its commitment to advanced technology innovation within the United States. This investment comes amidst heightened scrutiny of the U.S. chip industry by the Trump administration, which is actively seeking to reshape the government's role in the private sector. Recent developments include discussions regarding a potential 10% stake acquisition by the U.S. government, converting government grants into shares. Simultaneously, Softbank's investment represents a clear vote of confidence in Intel's ongoing turnaround efforts, particularly given the company's struggles to compete with global rivals like Samsung and TSMC. Intel, one of the few U.S. firms capable of large-scale high-end semiconductor manufacturing, is facing increased pressure to secure its position within the industry. The Trump administration's involvement is a key factor. Last week, President Trump met with Intel CEO Lip-Bu Tan, following calls for Tan's resignation due to perceived conflicts of interest related to his previous ties to China. This intervention highlights the administration's determination to safeguard the U.S. chip supply chain and reduce dependence on Asian manufacturers. Political analysts view the developments as a major escalation, signaling Washington's intent to actively shape the industry's landscape. Furthermore, NVIDIA and AMD recently agreed to pay the U.S. government 15% of their Chinese revenues to secure export licenses, demonstrating a coordinated effort to prioritize domestic production and national security. Telos Wealth Advisors Dan Sheehan emphasized the government's clear agenda, accelerating domestic production, reducing reliance on Asia, and positioning Intel at the center of the AI and national security sectors. The investment underscores a strategic realignment within the U.S. semiconductor industry, heavily influenced by governmental policy and aimed at securing future technological dominance. Soho House, acquired by Consortium led by Ashton Kutcher and private members Club Soho House, has been acquired in a free $2 billion deal involving a consortium led by Hollywood actor Ashton Kutcher, alongside MCR Hotels and Apollo Global Management. The acquisition marks a return to private ownership for the club chain, which initially launched in London's Greek Street in 1995 and now operates 46 houses across Europe, North America, and Asia, alongside various hospitality businesses including Soho Works office buildings and Scorpio's beach clubs. The deal sees a 0.9 per share offer, 18% higher than Friday's closing price, but still below the peak of 14-1 reached in August 2021. Existing shareholders, including founder Nick Jones and Richard Caring, will retain their stakes. Ashton Kutcher will join MCR Hotels CEO Tyler Morse and Nick Jones on the board. MCR Hotels, a significant U.S. hotel group owning properties like the TWA Hotel and BT Tower, is spearheading the investment. The deal aims to revitalize Soho House, which has faced challenges stemming from a sharp decline in its share value following its New York Stock Exchange listing in 2021. Concerns about Soho House's exclusivity have grown due to its rapid expansion and high membership fees. The chain is known for attracting a clientele including celebrities like Kate Moss, Kendall Jenner, and Ellie Goulding, as well as the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. However, recent accusations suggest the club's label has become diluted. Susanna Streeter, head of money and markets at Hargreaves Lansdowne, highlights the significant work required to restore Soho House's stability, citing concerns about the viability of its business model and the impact of tightening consumer spending. The investors will focus on continued growth, with 4 new houses planned. But the future of the brand hinges on addressing these challenges and regaining its reputation for exclusivity. Vietnam's $48 billion investment drive fuels economic growth. Of Vietnam is aggressively pursuing a $48 billion investment strategy encompassing 250 projects, aiming to significantly bolster economic growth and achieve a target GDP expansion of at least 8% this year. The government's commitment reflects efforts to mitigate global uncertainties and navigate the complexities surrounding a pending U.S. trade deal featuring a 20% tariff on Vietnamese exports. A core component of this initiative involves state-funded projects totaling approximately $18 billion, primarily focused on urban development and transportation. This includes the construction of the Rach Miu 2 Bridge in the Mekong Delta, the Saigon Marina International Financial Center, and the Vietal Group's Research and Development Center. Furthermore, the government is supporting the development of the Vingroup JSC-developed National Exhibition and Convention Center in Hanoi. Alongside these state-backed investments, another $30.5 billion is being channeled into 121 projects, attracting contributions from a select group of foreign companies. This diversified approach demonstrates a broader strategy to stimulate economic activity across various sectors. Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh emphasized the transformative potential of these investments, highlighting their impact on the country's strategic infrastructure. He underscored the urgency of implementing immediate and long-term economic restructuring measures to maintain growth momentum. The government's ambition is to reach a GDP expansion of 8.3% to 8.5% this year, signaling a robust and ambitious growth trajectory. The ongoing trade negotiations with the United States remain a critical factor, demanding proactive responses from the Vietnamese government to safeguard its economic future. The substantial investment program represents a concerted effort to solidify Vietnam's position as a dynamic and growing economy within Southeast Asia. UNDP Generali launch Insurance Innovation Challenge for Thai MSMEs. The United Nations Development Program, a UNDP and Generali have initiated an Insurance Innovation Challenge in Thailand, aimed at bolstering the resilience of micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, MSMEs, which constitute over 35% of the country's GDP and employ more than 70% of its workforce. This initiative addresses the growing vulnerability of these businesses to global risks and market volatility, particularly concerning the exclusion of many MSME workers from social security schemes and their susceptibility to rising medical expenses. The challenge seeks to identify and support localized, inclusive insurance solutions tailored to the specific risks faced by Thai MSMEs, ultimately contributing to Thailand's broader social protection framework. Generali, in collaboration with UNDP, recognizes the critical role of MSMEs in Thailand's economic landscape and the need to safeguard their workforce. The challenge offers a US $40,000 THB 127,600 prize to the two winning solutions, with applications closing on September 30, 2025, and announcements in November. It builds upon Generali's ongoing global collaboration with UNDP, focusing on inclusive insurance innovation and expanding social protection for vulnerable populations. Key figures involved include Rob Leonardi, Asia Regional Officer, Generali Naim Collier-Smith, UNDP Resident Representative in Thailand, and Arsh Komi, CEO Generali Thailand. The core objective is to provide a vital safety net for MSMEs and their employees, strengthening economic stability and enabling these businesses to thrive amidst evolving risks. The challenge's success hinges on developing insurance solutions that directly address the unique vulnerabilities of Thai MSMEs, promoting risk management and fostering a more resilient business community. The initiative emphasizes the importance of localized solutions and a holistic approach to risk management, ensuring that the support provided aligns with the specific needs of Thai MSMEs. Thai industrial sentiment plummets to three-year low. Thailand's industrial confidence has significantly declined, reaching a three-year low in July, according to data released by the Federation of Thai Industries (FTI). The industrial sentiment index decreased to 86.6 in July, a drop from 87.7 recorded in June, and a further reduction from the 88.1 index observed in May. This downturn represents a concerning trend within the Thai economy. The primary driver behind this decline is the imposition of 19% tariffs by the United States on Thai imports. Although this tariff aligns with those implemented by regional counterparts, uncertainty surrounding tariff rates on transshipments through Thailand from third-party nations remains a significant concern. The United States currently represents Thailand's largest export market, accounting for 18.3% of total shipments last year, generating approximately US $55 billion in value. Contributing to the negative sentiment are additional factors, including widespread flooding in Thailand's northern regions and a weakening purchasing power among consumers. The FTI anticipates a prolonged economic downturn, directly linked to the recent tariff implementation. Businesses are grappling with reduced export opportunities and increased operational costs. The FTI's survey was conducted prior to the U.S. tariff announcement, highlighting the reactive nature of the current situation. The organization is closely monitoring the evolving trade landscape and its potential impact on Thai industries. The situation underscores the vulnerability of Thailand's economy to external trade policies and the need for proactive economic strategies to mitigate risks and ensure sustained growth. The uncertainty surrounding the transshipment tariffs adds a layer of complexity to the economic outlook, demanding careful consideration and strategic adjustments from businesses and policymakers alike. DKSH drives sustainable growth in Thailand. DKSH, a leading global provider of solutions to companies operating in Asia and beyond, is a key driver of sustainable growth within the Thai market, leveraging its 120-year local expertise and commitment to localized innovation. The company's success stems from its ability to adapt global solutions to meet the specific needs of the Thai market across four core business units: consumer goods, healthcare, performance materials, and technology. DKSA's integrated distribution network, encompassing 10 strategically located distribution centers, facilitates the delivery of essential goods and advanced technologies, contributing significantly to Thailand's economic development. A cornerstone of DKSA's operations is its focus on localized innovation, exemplified by initiatives such as Viveri, a proprietary drinking water purification technology utilized by hotels to reduce their carbon footprint. This technology, alongside genetic testing solutions for rare disease diagnosis and biodiversity research, demonstrates DKS's commitment to supporting scientific advancement within Thailand. Furthermore, DKSH actively engages in corporate social responsibility through partnerships like Bandek Foundation, providing support to vulnerable children and families, and playing a crucial role in public health initiatives, including the distribution of over 80 million vaccine doses during the COVID-19 pandemic. DKSH's sustainability efforts extend beyond social responsibility, encompassing green solutions such as electric vehicle adoption and solar energy implementation, alongside paperless initiatives aimed at minimizing waste. The company's deep understanding of the Thai market enables it to create impactful solutions and contribute significantly to the group's overall success. Recognizing the importance of talent, DKSH invests heavily in employee training and development, fostering a culture of continuous learning and empowering teams to shape lasting positive impact. Looking ahead, DKSH remains dedicated to unlocking growth potential within the Asia-Pacific region, solidifying its position as a trusted partner committed to sustainable growth, innovation, and community development. The company's core values, authentic partnerships, and aligning business with purpose underscore its commitment to driving meaningful progress across Thailand and beyond. Thai crowdfunding sector faces significant contraction amidst economic challenges. Thailand's crowdfunding industry experienced a substantial contraction in the first half of 2025, with fundraising volumes plummeting 60% year-on-year to 733 million baht. This decline was driven by tightening liquidity, rising non-performing loans, and stricter bank lending standards impacting small and medium enterprises (SMEs). The number of licensed crowdfunding platforms decreased from 5 to 4, reflecting the challenging economic environment. Projected fundraising for the entire year is now estimated at 1.7 billion baht, a sharp decrease from 4.36 billion baht in 2024. Investry, a leading crowdfunding provider, has emerged as a key player, facilitating over 4.2 billion baht in funding through 2,000 deals supporting 120 SMEs since its inception. A significant regulatory milestone occurred in July, with Investry securing a debt representative license, bolstering investor confidence and strengthening governance within the SME bond market. This license enables Investry to act on behalf of bondholders, enhancing transparency and investor protection. Investry's strategy centers on speed and efficiency, with deals typically closing within 1 day and offering an average annual yield of 12%, although this varied by issuer. The platform maintains strict post-funding monitoring to ensure issuer and investor discipline, with a current default rate of 2% and recovery rate of 79% on matured debentures. Looking ahead, Investry is preparing to launch Thailand's first secured crowdfunding debentures, designed to mitigate recovery risk and attract a wider investor base, including retail and institutional investors. The company advocates for integrating alternative data into credit bureau systems and expanding credit guarantee schemes for SME bonds alongside tax incentives. Tokenization of crowdfunding bonds via blockchain systems is also being explored to lower investment thresholds and broaden participation. The Securities and Exchange Commission anticipates authorizing tokenized crowdfunding expansion by 2026. Investry's current activity involves approximately 50-60 SMEs raising funds annually through short-term debentures with maturities of less than 90 days, supported by a diverse investor base of over 900 participants. Ultimately, Investry's success hinges on shared data, trusted processes, and the effective utilization of capital by entrepreneurs, combined with the adoption of advanced financial technologies. Thai stock market bullish momentum amidst uncertainties, and the Stock Exchange of Thailand SET index has demonstrated a significant recovery, rising over 200 points from its June 23 low of 154, largely due to easing concerns regarding U.S. tariffs, clearer policy interest rate guidance, and reduced tensions at the Thai-Cambodia border. Second quarter earnings reports have also been relatively positive, with less than 25% of companies reporting weaker than expected results. Furthermore, the downward trend of earnings downgrades has diminished, indicating a shift towards upward revisions. Speculation surrounding potential inclusion of Thai equities in the SETI 50 index, particularly regarding passive funds, has fueled demand, with Thai Airways THAI experiencing substantial gains, nearing Singapore Airlines market capitalization. Supply constraints, with over 93% of shares locked up during a silent period, are exacerbating this demand. The market has already surpassed its target of 1,280 points, anticipating consolidation around 1,270 to 1,280, potentially leading to stock rotation towards previously lagging sectors, notably petrochemicals. However, the market faces headwinds. The Thai-Cambodia conflict remains a sensitive issue, impacting Cambodia-focused stocks. Political uncertainties, including a court ruling on the Prime Minister's ethics case, and potential anti-government protests, contribute to market volatility. Investors are closely monitoring U.S. inflation data and its impact on global economies, particularly Chinese exports. Positive catalysts include anticipated equity inflows driven by potential SCI or FTSE reweighting, positive economic indicators for July, and signals from the incoming Bank of Thailand governor prioritizing financial system stability. Despite the Trump-Putin summit's inconclusive outcome, ongoing diplomatic efforts regarding the Ukraine conflict offer a glimmer of hope. Despite these factors, concerns about a potential shift back to safe haven assets persist, reflecting the overall global uncertainty. The market will be closely watching for analyst meetings and further economic data releases to gauge the sustainability of the current bullish trend.